Here we are with another. You probably seen this drawing on a time lapse previously, but I wanted to do a talk over with this one. So I'm trying to clear a lot of files on my computer and stuff like that. So I thought I'd do a talk over with this drawing. It's like a death metal demon, sort of another variation of one I drew quite recently. So just sketching the overall shape here now. We're just trying to sketch everything we need, all the elements like the teeth, the horns, the eye socket things, and just all the details really. Just plan it all out in the sketch stage, and then you can really create a decent type design. So just like drawing the head as a floating type head thing, and later we'll be like doing like the black background of this and make it into a proper death metal style design that I like to do. I like to do these drawings. This is the second time I'm trying to do the voiceover, because the first time I messed it up. I had my earphones plugged in as well as my microphone, so once you do that they cancel out each other, so I had to redo the audio, which I was a bit pissed off with, but these things happen, I'll just have to do it again, and that's what I'm doing. So we're sketching like the horns there, and I want them to be like look like effective horns, with like shadows built up. Just plan that out with some of the lines. Yeah, the sketching stage is always the important stage. Yeah, draw that eyeball right in the mouth. I like the way I did that. I didn't know I was going to draw an eyeball in the mouth. I just thought, eyeball. That's something that can happen with these drawings. You could just decide to do things spare of the moment sort of thing, and just see how they work out with these sketches. And usually an eyeball in the mouth is a pretty good idea sometimes. It's going to have like stakes, like wooden stakes going through its head. That's what these are there. So it's always good to like plan out your drawings like this, and because a pencil sketch really gives a good idea of how your drawing will look when you ink it and everything. So it is essential sometimes. And sometimes you can start drawings without like using a pencil. You can use like a paintbrush or something and just block in loads of shapes and stuff like that, and then try and ink around that or over that. So there's different ways of doing things. So yeah, we're coming to the end of our pencil sketch. I'll just draw the third eye right there. So it's a good idea doing a third eye on the forehead of this demon skull. Just shade them slightly because I know they're going to be like black, like proper like skull eyes, just like hollow. So I decided to paint the background first on this one, then I can just go as close as I can to the skull design, and then just ink the rest as I'm going. Use a paintbrush for inking a lot of this because it's usually quicker. You can just spread all the ink on, and it's done in like a few minutes. Whereas if you use a marker, then you might be there for some time. Even a real thick marker, like you just like create like straight streaks and things like that you don't want. So I mean, even with a paintbrush you can have like streaks and stuff, but you're able to cover a larger area with a paintbrush, and you're not using up a lot of markers. So yeah, I usually use like black ink or black paint watered down. Sometimes you can get like a black that isn't totally black, it can be like grey or something, which is a bit annoying. So maybe try and find like decent like black paint or black ink. With the black ink, I recommend Winsor & Newton black ink. That's really good black ink. That. But again, it just depends on what paper you have as well. Sometimes it can help. It can, like thin out the paint a bit more, and or the surface isn't too good. But I just use like cheap white card for these drawings really. But yeah, so use a paintbrush to cover larger areas. It's always easier. So yeah, been busy doing like t-shirt designs lately and stuff like that, and sketches for that. And now I've just got like sketch cards to do, Star Wars ones. I've got to get them out of the way. But these death metal type designs are the ones I really like. I'm going to do a complex one next. Well, this is an old one, like I said. I want to do some new ones, like a more complex design. I'm currently doing a commission of like a zombie bursting out of a window, but I think with that drawing, I quite like the drawing that I've done there, but I think I showed you, I don't know. I probably have showed you somewhere like along the lines on the blog or the vlog or the Instagram, I don't know, can't remember. Losing track of time at the moment. But yeah, I want to do something similar. Complex design, maybe it's bursting through a window, and all of the glass and stuff is like shattered all around it, and I think that might be a nice complex design. And maybe the zombie is like a mutant zombie or something, and he's got like all tentacles coming off him. I don't know. Just think of something daft, complex but cool looking. So I'll probably try and think of something like that and do that on video. I think that should be a good idea. So yeah, we're just like painting all right up to the edges. I like to do that sometimes. Sometimes I just leave the edges, but I think it's important to get all the paper covered, all the white areas you can, and just turn it round without trying to get paint on your fingers. I hate that. So just like with these drawings, I try and just like create like a central image or something that's just like right in the middle of the page. I think I do that like unconsciously sometimes. I sometimes think, what if the design can be like lifted out or later on or something, and try and figure that out, into the drawing sometimes. But other times I like to go the illustration route, where it goes to the edge of the page, and it could be like a page in a book or something, or I don't know. I just have different thoughts about creating these things, because some designs might appear in a book, or I might try and use this as a t-shirt type design. I don't know, just try and think of things like that. I'm just like painting in a lot of the shadowed areas, like the eyes, the nose, under the cheekbones, like I always do, and a little bit of dry brushing. Then you can build on that with ink pens when it's dry. That's what I like to do. it's a good beginning base of the inking step. A little bit of dry brushing here and there, just creates a nice effect that you can just build on really. The shadow under the horns there. That's an important piece of the horns that we'll elaborate on a little bit later. Sometimes when I'm drawing them horns, like in my mind's eye, like it looks okay when you first look at it, but then you look at each horn and then you're trying to work out, have I drawn these correctly? You know, they don't look the same on each side, but that doesn't really matter. So, you know, as long as you enjoy the drawing and the creative process, that's the best thing. I'm just using a Sharpie marker just to add a little black areas around the teeth to make the teeth stand out a little bit more. And I wish I did a little bit more around inking, you know, around the eyeball area and the mouth, because towards the end I don't think I did, but I can always add it later on. I've still got the drawing somewhere. I usually archive these drawings. So yeah, we're just expanding upon them paintbrush marks now, trying to add more into it, like into the design of it. And we'll use like a thinner ink pen later on for some cool like hatching and details and things like that. So yeah, you can see them details around the eye sockets there. It really helps just add in like lines that are on there, and do a quick thick line around the teeth, base of the teeth. Yeah, just extend, you know, that painting pieces that you just done with the black. Just always look at your drawing and just see where you're going with the drawing. Sometimes it's good just to step back and, you know, at little moments and just look and see where your drawing's going. It's important to do that sometimes. Just drawing around them teeth, just to try and make them more solid. Obviously, just try and add more details now. This is the bit I like on the drawing. We're creating texture and just more details and stuff, and seeing how far we can go with the drawing as well. With, you know, how many details and textures you can just cram into the drawing. Like wrinkles or something, but then they're like textured flesh and stuff like that. It's really good to just ink this way really. And I've said it before in other videos, it's best to ink in layers like I'm doing here. Like, you know, I started with the brush and then in the background and then that's one layer, get the background sorted, and then you add like you know, some shadows on the like skull and then the details, and then you can do some hatching over the top, and then last of all like white highlights, which I do like loads of drips and a bit like cobwebby type elements and stuff like that. So it's good to think of your drawing in layers, you know, like you do on, you know, Photoshop or something, like, or when you're drawing these like traditionally, like just think like that really. once you've drawn certain things, certain elements, they don't have to remain that way. You can keep on sketching and just keep on working on them as well, so until you're happy with it. That's something I never really did when I was younger. I just drew a drawing, thought it hadn't worked out, not carried on with it. But lately, or the last few years, I've thought, some drawings I just might need a bit more work, so you just spend a bit more time on it, and that can usually like swing it around. Like 90% of the time it can anyway. I mean, sometimes you'll find some drawings that you've done will never be good enough. I think sometimes maybe because you didn't plan them out right, or it's a strange thing, art sometimes. So, although sometimes you can't get the drawing that you have in your mind on the page sometimes, but that might need a bit more work, a bit more sketching, trying to mess with ideas on the page. So just don't get like discouraged sometimes. This drawing I did just totally off the off my own back, like obviously, like, but like I didn't have like any planned idea for it. I didn't sketch beforehand or anything. Well, obviously I did a pencil sketch, but it was just like one that I went into the video of making it, the process of making it, and it just seemed to flow and just happened. Other times I might need to plan stuff out if it's a little bit complex, or just to see how it'll look. That's the best way, especially with these drawings. But I think it's because I'm used to drawing this type of stuff. I've sort of like trained myself over the years to just come up with this type of stuff, which is good in one way but bad in another, because I know that there's other stuff I need to learn to draw, and when we're just drawing this same type of stuff all the time, I'm limiting myself, I think. So I think I'll be drawing some other stuff hopefully soon. As you can see, like the inking, as I said, like doing that hatching over the top, it's adding another layer to the drawing, and that's what I really like about it. Just trying to draw different areas now, and it looks like it's more like a scribbly looking process, but it makes sense when you see it all together when I've finished, and you just go for like dark areas and creating texture and stuff like that on the drawing, and yeah, it usually works out pretty well. See, I'm a fan of like art in comic books and things like that. I can look at stuff like that for hours, and in fact I'm due to like read through or like flick through all my old comic books just to have a look at the art again. Got quite a few old comic books that I like Spawn and Savage Dragon. I like them. Just looking at the artworks and that, and the way that artists have inked drawings and things like that. I think it imprints on your mind, and I just seem to look at that and think how they did that, and probably incorporated that into my own artwork and the way I draw. But I like drawing like super detailed stuff, lots of details. So there's lots of shadow anyway, and textures. I like that. I like that in a drawing. Lately I like to draw more experimental, like just seeing if the drawing will work sometimes. Using like paint sketching, like a grey tone, just create like shapes, and then find something within them shapes and then ink over them. That's something that I'll be doing. I'll do more videos like that. But yeah, gotta do that. I think every artist has got to do that. Try and, instead of pencil sketching stuff in, what about blocking in shapes with like paint or something, like light colours. Like, I wouldn't choose like dark colours to start with, because you probably wouldn't have anything to work with, but usually like a grey tone, or like a light grey tone, create some shapes. And you can always darken things later once you get an idea of what you want to draw. But I usually draw shapes or paint shapes with a paintbrush, with like a light grey colour, like grey paint, and then just try and find stuff in the shapes that you paint. You could have like long flowing shapes, which could be like tentacles. I nearly said testicles then. Jesus. Yeah, and like other like details that could, you could like paint like shapes, then that can become like faces, and I don't know, other stuff like creatures and stuff. That's where I come from, just like drawing like creatures and other sorts of monsters and stuff. So I usually see that in them shapes that I draw and paint. So yeah, just try that. I'll probably do another video explaining about that, because it'll tie into a video that I'm working on about colour washes and stuff like that. So I think, yeah, we'll do a video on that and expand on that a bit. I've already shown a few like paint sketches how I do that way, so you'll probably see that in time. So as you see with this drawing, the inking is a slow process, but it's a necessary one, particularly as I like to draw lots of detail, too much detail sometimes, but I find adding all of that detail, it just really creates an effective drawing that I'm happy with. So yeah, there is that. I mean, you could draw as much detail as you want as well, or as little detail if you just want to get the overall shapes down and things like that. But I do think it is best to try and just lose yourself in the inking process or the art creation process and just see what you can come up with. If drawing super detailed stuff isn't for you like this, then just simplify things, or simplify things, like as in like draw like basic shapes and then try and ink that, and maybe not go too overboard with the ink. I don't know, it's entirely up to you. This is just the way I work, and prefer to work with drawings, illustrations. So as you can see, we're trying to work on them horns now, trying to create a nice gradient of like shadow and texture. Needs a little bit more work. I just get distracted by other areas of the drawing. That's why I go back and forth between certain areas. I think that's my eye just catching certain areas that need working on. Even though I'm working on another area, then I'll come back to that. So it's just the way I work. So yeah, we're just adding in way too much detail, but fun details. It's all a creative process, which I like. And if you're watching this video right near to the end, then I think you probably like this process too, hopefully. And don't know, it's good to draw this stuff. If I wasn't drawing this stuff, then I don't know if I'd be drawing much, to be honest. It's this type of stuff that inspires me to draw. I see other artists doing this type of stuff, and I want to draw that stuff, not copy that stuff, but it's like seeing other artists working on certain stuff. It can just inspire you to draw, or it can just I don't know, it just creates an edge to draw, if you know what I mean. So I've got like a white Jelly Roll ink pen. These are good for adding like white highlights over the top, like drips and cobwebs, like I'm adding here, on the eye sockets and the nose, and I'll do like elements around it, like loads of drips and like little cobweb type elements. Looks quite effective against the black background. That's why I did the black, painted the black background. Um, so yeah, we're just working out some of the drips and the bits of cobweb stuff, or slime, or whatever you want to call it. So I get this technique from, well, quite a few other artists have done this, but the most inspirational type artist that does this a lot is Mark Riddick. So that's, he's fantastic artist. Does like underground, like death metal designs for various stuff, and just really good. So that's, I mean, I'd like to do some illustrations like that, but I don't like to draw all black and white sometimes. But then sometimes these ink drawings I just like to do because they're simple to do for me, but I like the overall design of seeing an ink drawing. It's like the old EC horror comics, before my time, like 1950s or thereabouts, or like, but they used to have like black and white illustrations of like monsters and stuff like that, and the inking on them was just phenomenal, just really good. And I always think about them when I'm drawing this type of stuff. Even the comic book artist Bernie Wrightson, he had that sort of technique in his work, lots of detail, and there'd be like brushwork, ink pen work, and other stuff, and just all going into a drawing that just made it totally detailed and unique, and that really good. So yeah, just back to the horns again now, until I probably get distracted and do something else. But yeah, just trying to flesh these out a little bit more, with like shadow details and things like that. Sometimes I pause just to like look at the drawing overall and see what I need to ink, or what I can just try and finish. So I've decided that there's going to be like loads of like texturing, just to thin that white space under the horn there. Add some like textures and other little bits. So it's good like taking out some white spaces sometime and just breaking that up slightly. And it extends upon that black paint line that you did, well, I did previously as well. So it just, like I said, it just expands on the layers of your drawing, and that's something I do a lot more of, and that's something that you should do, if you're serious about drawing. Just trying to work it out there. Let's go back to the other horn now and just try and do the same with that one. It's always good to turn the page as well, the piece of paper. It's different angles, it could just make it better just to draw. you know, certain things. I know it's an obvious thing to say, but I've seen some other artists and they haven't turned the page, they just try and angle the hand, you know, like they're about to snap the hand trying to, but it's easier just to turn the page, you know, or turn the sheet of paper really, it's easier to do. So I'm doing the same underneath there, that white space just needs a little bit more texturizing just to blend a lot of that black paint line together and just make it look like it's got lots of shadowy bits and like textures and stuff like that, because that's what a horn would probably look like, you know, lots of shadow and details. So I was back with a Sharpie marker just to get some areas which I sort of missed, which I couldn't get in with a paintbrush. I could have done with a thin paintbrush, but you know, adding like black areas just to take some areas out, try and make it look like there's rotten areas or something like that, and like it's all decaying as well. I quite like the idea of that, you know, adding like decay on a drawing, even under the horns there, just because they could be rotten, you never know. So that's what I mean, just always go back and see what you can take out of the drawing. That's another reason why I do the black backgrounds, because you can just take stuff out that you don't like, some like white areas and here and there, and like scale back the drawing and just create a nice balance between the dark and the light. So yeah, I missed a bit there, just try and just add some details there, just like blend it all together. Some more like shadows around the eyes and that. Well, around the eye. But like I said, I wish I'd added more like little shadows or something else coming out of that. Maybe like little tentacles or something. I don't know. You always think of these things later, but I suppose I could add them now, and just with a little bit of white paint and then ink back over that, scale that back, you know, like I'm doing, just adding these darker areas. So it's always good to go back to, you know, the shadows and try and like edit little bits out here and there. It just creates an extra layer, an extra, I don't know, adds something to it anyway. So it's always a good idea to do that. Even on the top of the head there, maybe some of that's like rotten or, you know, decaying and stuff like that. Just create something that I didn't previously draw. Just could all be like rotting or I don't know, make it up. So I'm just adding in some final white ink lines, trying to join up certain areas, even like some of the darker areas right within the demon skull. Just try and add more drips here and there, and just makes it look quite effective, adding all this around it. drips. I'm going to try and draw a little crack there, which I tried to draw. Sometimes worth testing that out on the completely black areas. It's always worth experimenting, because you might create some happy accidents, as Bob Ross would say. Although I can't see Bob Ross drawing this shit. well, he's no longer with us, obviously, but yeah, I like Bob Ross's paintings. Awesome. It's not really the stuff I'd paint, but I'd like to do some fantasy type paintings, like with mountains and trees and stuff like that. It's always worth a watch, anyway. I think I did a bit too much of this white pen stuff here and there, but it still looks effective anyway. It's a super detailed drawing. Yeah, draw drips on the chin as well, because I think I did the chin a bit too dark right at the bottom, but well, the chin, the jaw, I'd say the jaw sounds better, because it's not like a chin really, it's like a rotten looking jaw. Just any way you can fit in drips, just add some drips and things like that, and any little white areas that you want to get in on the actual page, on the drawing. Maybe some drips there, perhaps under the eye, the third eye. I wish I would have done a little bit more on the teeth, actually, because they look a bit too white, but what can you say, I tried. But it's still an effective drawing, quite like it. So anyway, coming to the end of the drawing now, and hope you like this, because I like drawing it, and there we go. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my daily art vlogs and any other videos, and subscribe and all that jazz. Cheers now.